Hello everyone, welcome to Vintage Speedworks. My name is Marco and this is my 1978 Honda CB400T Hawk II. Hawk II. Hawk II. Something like that. I became interested in motorcycles when I was younger. I saw a video online once and there was like 3 guys riding motorcycles, and I really liked the way that it looked. Their motorcycles were raw, they were just stretched. You could tell that they stretched them and didn't worry about them being perfect. They were just out there enjoying them. Stretch frames, you know, tall handlebars. Those were cool motorcycles, and I really liked the fact that they went out and did it. And at that time, guys were doing it, you know, because, you know, the bikes were cheap and they can do that. You didn't necessarily have to have a lot of money to do that, and so I really appreciated that. And so I went out and I tried to look for a motorcycle, and I found the CB100 from a guy that worked on motorcycles, and you know, that bike was my learning bike. I learned a lot of things on that bike. Ultimately, I wasn't able to finish it because I found this one. So this one is a CB400T. It's a Honda Hawk II. This motorcycle doesn't come with those wheels. Those wheels I added. The front wheel is a front 21-inch wheel from a Honda Elsinore 250, I believe. It's a dirt bike. It comes with a drum brake, which I wanted and I really like. So I ended up finding that mint condition on eBay for $100, and so I bought that with the drum brake assembly. So I purchased that. I also found the back wheel to a Honda CB400T1, which is the base model that comes with a spoke wheel. Those are rare, but they're out there. So I found that wheel, and so that way I could have the combination, and I think it worked out great. So I started working on this motorcycle and didn't continue on the CB100. There's a lot of videos on CB100, but once I realized that the CB100 wasn't going to really get me down the road the way I wanted to, I just focused on this one. Now, CB400 is not a big bike by any means, but it'll definitely get me up to 70 miles per hour, and no problem with 70 miles per hour. I wouldn't take this on the highway by any means, but it's a great cruiser bike too around the city. This bike has been stretched 6 inches.
That's what she said!
I modified the back frame. It has a modified seat. This is a hand-built seat that I built in my garage with pieces of leather that were laying around. It has dual BM32 Mikuni carburetors with pod filters. The bike runs well, but it could run a lot better. So I hope to tune those carbs here in the future. You know, back then there wasn't really technology like there is now to tune carbs properly. There was, I just didn't have it at the time, I should say, because all that stuff was expensive. So I hope that I can bring you content about that, so I can tune those carbs. It has open headers, as you can see. It doesn't have any mufflers, and that's fine. It has drag bars. So those drag bars I was able to get from like eBay. I like the way the drag bars look and feel on this type of bike. They're just great, and honestly, I like the stance of this bike. It just has a very good look to it. People like it, they see it on the street and they like it. And again, I didn't want this bike to be pretty, you know? I didn't want people to look at it and think that it's some sort of trader queen or some sort of show bike where you can't really take it anywhere. Like, I wanted this bike to look good, but also to be known that it's ridden. And I think that was achieved. There's a lot of patina that I would left on this bike, a lot of rawness to it, which is fine. That's the way I like the motorcycle to look. I don't want to make it perfect. I want to modify it just to make it safer, but I don't want to make it perfect. So the chain sprocket, there's things that I need to do regarding the chain sprocket. I need to fix that. I also need to fix the front headlight, and I need to fix the front drum brake. The way I fix the drum brake, it works, but it's not very safe. So I need to find a better way to lock that drum in so it doesn't move in the forks. Again, it still works, but the last thing that I did recently to modify the bike, the rear tail light that it had was a custom built tail light, which I thought it looked great on this motorcycle, but it wasn't very bright. And I built that back in the day when I didn't really care. But now it's there's a lot of crazy drivers out there. So I need to fix that, because I bought one from eBay and it looks okay, but it just stands out. You could tell that it just doesn't go on the bike. So I'm gonna probably put the other one back on and find a way to put a better light on that old tail light that I had made. Other than that, the bike has a Cole Foster gas tank. That was inspired by Dan Patterson. He was a really good friend of mine. Dan Patterson, if you're watching, thank you for everything. He is the owner of Angry Monkey Motorcycles. So as you can see, this bike kind of resembles that, because a lot of the inspiration was from him. A lot of the inspiration was from people like him, from people like the guys over at 32 Choppers, which helped a lot. They actually did guide me quite a bit to make sure that the motorcycle was finished, because they taught me a lot of things, and they didn't have to teach me things. I would just reach out to them and they would respond, which the guidance, the mentorship, I really appreciate that. The paint on this motorcycle is all rattle can. The only thing that I used good paint on was the fender, I think, which is not really good. At the time, there was a spray paint called PPG First Choice or One Choice, and that was a clear that you could use, and it came out really, really nice, and I went ahead and used that. It's not the most shiniest color, but I'm okay with that. Went ahead and used some drag bars on this motorcycle with the white white grips inspired by Dan Patterson. He uses white grips on his motorcycle, so I really like that look, and I think it fits in well once it starts to really kind of wear in. The front headlight beam is actually Harbor Freight stuff. Back then, I didn't really have the money to purchase really nice accessories for the motorcycle, so I went ahead and used that. The inside of that headlight is actually an LED. It's retrofitted with an LED light. I used to have an HID light, which actually worked a lot better, but right now I have an LED light in there, and it works good. It has high and low beams, and it works pretty well. Other than that, it's a pretty straightforward bike. It looks like I modified a lot of it, but really, if you really look into it, it's not a lot that was modified, other than simple things just to make it rideable. But you know, it's something I enjoy. It's something that I feel like more people should get into, and yeah, and get out there and ride. The tires, they're all Shinko's inexpensive brand, you know, tires. 21 in the front, 17 in the back. But I think it looks good. The CB100 that I had, I ended up not using that bike. So one day I'll go back and I'll build a CB100 for sure. Shortly after that, I was able to find a couple of more Hondas. I became really interested in CB400s, CB550s, CB500s, and then I also have a Yamaha XS650 that I'm currently working, and it looks similar to this one, but that one is a super modified version of a 4-cylinder cruising bike. So I'll go ahead and show you that on a next video. Today I just wanted to show you this bike and show you some of the features of it. You know, please subscribe, it really helps out. The purpose for this bike is to fix the things that I need to fix on it, which right now it's the headlight. I'll probably work on the headlight. It still works, it's fine, but I want to make it look a little bit better. The front brakes need a little bit of help, so I'll be working on that with you all in videos coming up. So I need to work on those, and then I also have to work on the chain sprocket, the mounting of the seat. I could probably work on that. Just a few things to make it a little bit safer and so that I can ride it a lot more. Other than that, like I mentioned before, I don't want to make this bike perfect. I like the way it looks. I think people gravitate to this bike because it's not your pretty bike. It's well worn in. It uses parts that a lot of the parts I made, the wiring, everything, the coil, everything that I used on this bike, sometimes it's off a different bike. So it's put together, it's not done right. And I think it kind of falls in the spirit of those guys that I saw in that video riding around those motorcycles that they modified, which I found was one of the best videos I ever saw. And so yeah, this is the project that I'm going to be working on soon. So if you want to see more content like this, working on this type of motorcycles, please let me know in the comments. Subscribe, and I'll be bringing you more content like this. But thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you guys, I hope to see you on the next video.